I love getting a chance to do international events because there's so many people from so many different places. And, you know, if you would have told me 10 years ago when we started this company that we'd be doing this in multiple languages, multiple time zones around the world, and that we would be changing lives like we've done here in the U.S. all over the world, I mean, I'm a pretty optimistic person, but I probably would have argued with you. I mean, what's happened in 10 years has been nothing short of spectacular when it comes to the growth that the company's had, obviously because of the people in this room and the people that are going to be here this weekend. And so thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey, because it's just empowering to see what's happened all over the world. One of the things that I love talking about is the actual product itself. And the reason is because, like Brian mentioned, I had success before World Ventures. And one of the reasons that I think I did is because I worked with a direct sales company for 7 years that was the best of its kind. They literally had no competition. They were the best quality product. They were expensive, but I never had to worry about if somebody had a better product than I did. I never had to apologize to customers and say, man, that didn't work like it was supposed to. Like when I was in training and they showed me that it worked, but now I got here and I'm demonstrating it for you and it didn't work. Because I knew every time I did one of those presentations when I was a rep that those products were gonna perform the way that they were supposed to. And so I knew that people made money in network marketing, but the problem was for me, anytime I had seen another network marketing company or product, I never felt like it was something that I could get excited about. I mean, it's just magnets are not exciting, juice is not exciting, lotion is not exciting. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to decide what it is that you want to be about. You know, all these companies that are product-based companies, they talk about be a product of your product. And see, to me, that's hard, because how can you be a juice, right? Like be a product of your product. Well, what they mean is take your product on a daily basis, you know, incorporate it into your lifestyle. But for me, I never was a health and wellness guy. I mean, as you can tell, I'm not a big, like, you know, bodybuilder like Zoe and some of these other guys running around here, you know? And so I didn't know how I could be a product of the product with all these other companies out there. But growing up, I wanted to see the world. And so I knew that when I saw travel and network marketing, I knew that it was brilliant, because I felt like it was made for me. I felt like when I saw World Ventures, I had that competitive advantage that I had had in my first direct sales company. So I didn't have to worry about apologizing to anybody. I didn't have to apologize to my reps, my customers. My first experience in network marketing company, I had to. And I told myself that I would never do that again, because I worked briefly with a company that wasn't set up like World Ventures. We didn't have any unique technology. The company wasn't put together well. It wasn't run well. And so I wound up having to apologize to people. And I told myself I would never do that again. And so that's why I'm so passionate about products. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about just why our product is so amazing and why it's so much better than everything else out there. And I think you have to start off with really the concept of direct sales. See, the idea of direct sales when it started 50, 60, 70 years ago or more was to try to get a product to the consumer cheaper by eliminating the middle person. You know, you get a product, if you're gonna buy toothpaste or soap, you know, the big Amway pitch was, well, buy it from yourself if you're gonna buy it. And so the idea was that the soap or toothpaste would be cheaper if you bought it from yourself than if you went into your local drugstore or convenience store or grocery store to buy the same products. But what happened over time is other companies started coming into the direct sales and network marketing space and creating more competition for these consumer products companies. So these consumer products companies were faced with a challenge, and this is what their challenge was. If there's a better opportunity out there, how do we compete for distributors? See, that was the problem that Amway and some of these big legacy companies faced. So they had only one choice, and that was to continue to raise prices so that the commissions that they paid out would be attractive enough to attract distributors so that they could make commission and money and have a real opportunity. So you're left with these health and wellness companies that used to have products that were less than if you walked into like a GNC or to your grocery store or Walmart. The products used to be less expensive. But what's happened as these companies have gotten greedy and as they've had to fight with other companies out there, service-based companies, for the opportunity, then what's happened is they've raised their prices. So now you wind up with a juice. When it's part of a network marketing company, it's $19.95, but that exact same juice with very similar, if not the same ingredients, is $9.95 at your grocery store. So see, the litmus test of a true network marketing opportunity, when you look at its product, should be, would somebody use this product if they weren't making money, if they weren't incentivized to go out and drink the juice? Because this is what happened when the recession hit 4, 5, 6 years ago. What do you think was the first thing that people stopped spending money on? If they weren't making money with the juice company, do you think that they were getting that $249 auto ship of their 24 bottles of juice? That was the first thing to go. It's like, well, honey, you know, it used to get delivered to our doorstep and it was $249. Now we're going to Walmart and it's $5, right? It's like the acai juice is just as good at Walmart as it is in this fancy bottle that's $19.95. And so the mission of direct sales has evolved to where now if you're a product-based company, you cannot compete with the compensation payouts of service-based companies. The only way you can, there's two ways. Either you overprice your products to your customers, or you hide what you're really paying out. So in other words, you get to a juice or coffee that you're spending $300 or $400 on that you could go to the grocery store and spend $9. And the pitch is, well, this is super duper coffee. I mean, it's this rare bean from the Amazon rainforest that's been harvested by hand, and it was shipped in special linen bags that gave it these extra properties that's why we're charging you 10 times what your normal coffee is, right? So you got to sell the story. You've got to have the hype. And so that's the only option they have when they raise these prices. The other thing that all these other product-based companies do is they use fuzzy math. Politicians are really good at this too, okay? And the fuzzy math works like this. They say, well, we pay out as much as your network marketing company does. World Ventures Comp Plan, y'all don't pay out that much. I mean, we pay out 65%. We pay out 70%. That's what these companies say. But that's impossible. See, it's impossible for a product-based company to pay out 65 or 70%. It's impossible. You can't do it. They pay 60 or 70% of BV or CV or BBV or CCV. They hide it in the comp plan with all of these different initials. And so they say, we pay out 70% on our products. And I ask them, and I ask people that talk to me about other opportunities, I go, of every dollar you bring in? Well, I think so. And I go, let me show you how you're wrong. Okay? And then I pull out their comp plan and I say, you see this? It says BV or CV. That means commissionable volume or business volume. That means all those auto ships that you're purchasing at wholesale, that doesn't count. It's not dollar for dollar. So if you sell at wholesale to yourself and your family and your friends, part of their entire pitch, that volume's not weighted the same way. So what happens is they collect $250 on that auto ship, but only $125 of the auto ship goes into the comp plan. So then they say we pay out 60 to 70% on BV or CV. But if they do $300 million in revenue, there's only $100 million of CV. So they're only paying out $60 million on $300 million in revenue. But they say, we pay out 60%, we pay out 70%, but you can't. Let me explain to you why. If you're a product-based company, you have things that you have to pay for, like research and development. a friend of mine in Dallas makes most of the products for most of the big network marketing companies in the country, especially new products. And he said, most of those companies, when they come to me, we spend about $2 to $3 million a year on R&D. That means flavor test, batch runs, packet, doing it in small batches, large batches, all those things, $2 to $3 million. You got to pay for that. Well, then you got to pay for the scientists and the chemists. And if you want to have any type of accreditation, you've got to pay the doctors to put their names on it. And you've got to pay for clinical trials and try to get FDA approval and all these other parts of the scientific process. That's just the beginning. Then you have manufacturing and production. So then you have to have a warehouse. Do you make it yourself? Do you know how expensive it is to build a warehouse and buy manufacturing equipment? That's why when you see all these startup network marketing companies, they just go to a guy like my friend in Dallas and say, hey, we want to start a network marketing company. Can you make some crap for us? That's literally how the calls go. He gets a dozen of those calls every single week, asking for just stuff that they can feed through their comp plan so that they can try to have a business. See, there's no loyalty to the cause or health and wellness or making us live better lives like they say on their packets and their brochures. The real thing that they're just trying to do is make money off of the system. So then you have production and manufacturing. Then you have this thing called supply chain management and shipping and receiving and warehousing. And then when you warehouse things, then you have stuff that goes bad. See, one of the biggest problems facing most network marketing companies is you can't control the growth. So what happens when you have 2 months where you sign up 50,000 new distributors or customers, and then the next 2 months you sign up 5,000? How do you plan for that when you have all of that product sitting in a warehouse? How do you keep up with the demand? So if you signed up 50,000 for 2 straight months and then you drop to 5,000 because the stock market has a blip or, the recession they start talking about it on the news, or maybe a bunch of your leaders go on vacation, or maybe some of your leadership leaves and goes somewhere else, then what happens to all that stuff sitting in the warehouse, in a hot warehouse at 115 degrees? It has to get thrown away. So then you burn that product. So then you have new products. And then what happens when you change labels or change designs? All that stuff gets thrown away. All of that stuff adds up. And that's why you can't run a product-based company and pay out 70%, because you cannot do all of that and handle customer service, rep support, and fulfillment and do it on a 30% margin. It's impossible. You can't do it. So if you see a product-based company tell you that they're paying out 70%, remember, there's only 2 ways they can do that. Their stuff is way too expensive, or they're fuzzy math. It's the only way it can happen. So when you see those types of opportunities, know the comparison for us is so much greater because we're selling a service. Now let me talk to you about service. So you have 2 types of service companies. You have service that owns their service that they're selling, like us. See, we created the Dreamtrip membership. And so when we take in $200 for that gold membership, that $200 is 100% commissionable volume. Or you go to a company like the energy companies. There's a couple of energy companies in the top 100 on the DSN. So you go look at those companies, and they're doing $950 million in revenue. I saw one of them. $950 million. But they're reselling that electricity. So when they did $950 million in revenue, they're only making 0.00023 per kilowatt hour. So on $950 million in revenue, they probably only made $60 million. But they're on the list at $950 million in revenue, and they're on the Inc. 500 list based on the fact that they're just reselling somebody else's service. There's only 2 or 3 people in that entire $950 million company, supposedly. There's only 2 or 3 people making over $1 million a year. We've got a lot more than that. You're a service company, you can pay out more. You look at service-based companies, they're the ones that have the most aggressive compensation plans. The reason is because they don't have all that research and manufacturing. They don't have all the product development, the warehousing, the shipping, receiving, the supply chain management, dealing with UPS and FedEx, and all of the other stuff. We don't have to worry about that. See, most of our costs are fixed. As we scale as a company, when we look at the numbers, we just have to add a certain amount of call center support, Dreamtrip rep support, people to fulfill the products. We only have to add so much of that to be able to handle an influx of another 20 or 30,000 members. So when you look at us as a product, the reason why the product is so sexy, in my opinion, is because it's ours. We are creating this together. And with all of the changes that we've made, the infrastructure for the new way that Rovia and World Ventures is working together, and all of the new people that we've brought on, and all the stuff you guys are going to be hearing about with Daily, Local, Global, and all the stuff that Raymond and Scott and Klaus and Danielle talked to you about today, that's why our product is so good, because we own it. Nobody can do what we do. See, the thing is that if you took, like, let's say Warren Buffett, because Warren Buffett saw the awards last week and took pictures with Wayne, and I'm sure he was sitting over there going, man, why didn't I think of this? But if Warren Buffett said, hey, here's $200 million, go create a competitor to World Ventures. They're crushing it. They're killing it. If you look at the DSN Top 100, there's only one travel company in the Top 100. So if there's only one company in the Top 100 of its kind, that tells you a little bit about your opportunity and a little bit about your product. Because the other 99 companies are competing, most of them, probably about 85 of them, are competing for those same dollars: health and wellness, cosmetics, skincare, juice, nutrition, weight loss. They're all competing for those same dollars. So see, then they have to have the conversation, well, my juice is better than your juice. My lotion is better than your lotion. My makeup is better than your makeup, right? There's no distinction, right? I mean, you could say who's selling more. I mean, I guess that's a distinction, but whose juice tastes better? Whose juice works better? Whose scientists are better? See, we don't have to worry about that because everybody already wants to go to Cancun. Everybody already wants to go to Greece. My Greece is better than your Greece, right? See, we don't have to sell the differences between our product and another company's products because there is only one travel company in the Top 100. So then you say, well, okay, Wes, so there's one travel company in the Top 100. We don't have any competition. We have a 10-year head start. So if Warren Buffett gave somebody the $200 million, they'd be 10 years behind figuring out what we've figured out over the last 10 years. You've heard of first to market advantage. First to market advantage is why here in the U.S., when we ask for the cotton swab to clean out our ears, we say, could you give me a Q-tip? When we ask for a soft drink, we say, could you give me a Coke? Like a Coke? I'm like, oh, no, like a Sprite or Dr. Well, you said Coke. Yeah, I know, but they're all Cokes, right? It's that first to market advantage. It's being the brand name. It's being first. It's creating something that's never been done before. That's where we are. We started that process 10 years ago. Then you see why it's so hard to compete with our Because, see, we've already figured it out over the last 10 years. We've already made the mistakes. We've already broken stuff and fixed it and gone through the trials and tribulations and the problems that you face being a startup company. I talked to leaders recently who left another network marketing company that went out of business. I'm not going to say any names or initials that I predicted in 2013 would happen, but I talked to them and they said, well, Wes, they said, we want to be in a startup. I said, are you crazy? Why would you want to be part of a startup? I did that 10 years ago, and it's a miracle that we made it through what we started 10 years ago. See, this is a testament of the people and the founders and the idea that Wayne had 10 years ago lasting the test of time because most companies don't make it through 10 years. So these guys say, well, I want to be in a startup. I want to, put my name on the map. I want to put my imprint on something. I want to really create something. That's what we're doing. But see, all these people that are out there, they think it's so easy. I'm just going to go join a startup company and we'll be doing $1 billion a year before you know it. Yeah, right. You know why I say yeah, right? Because nobody else has done it. There hasn't been anybody else in the last 10 years that started since we have in the industry that's done what we've done. There's been some companies that have had some good years, they've had some spikes, but nobody's been able to grow like we have because we continue to add trips, we've continued to improve our services, we've continued to improve our technology, and so the opportunity today, as amazing as it is, this is the worst it'll ever be, and I've been saying that for 10 years. So, I guess what's left is we need to compare ourselves to some of these other travel companies. You want to understand why our product is so much better than all these other travel companies that are popping up. You see what's started to happen is people have seen the success that we've had, and they underestimate the amount of work and infrastructure and trial and tribulation that went in to creating what we have. So they just slap stuff together. I'm not going to use any names. You know who they are. They just target our members on social media all day, every day because they can't recruit on their own because their opportunity and product sucks so bad that they have to come try to find our members to recruit. So they message me and they say, oh, because they just see I'm part of World Ventures, how's that working out for you? And I go, well, let me think about it. Do you want to come ride in my R8 or in one of my BMWs or come sleep at my multi-million-dollar ranch? Or maybe you want to go with me on one of the over 100 vacations that I've been on in the last 10 years. I think it's working out pretty good. Oh, well, I just wanted to tell you about this new XYZ company that's about to launch or going to launch. It's the newest thing in travel. And I say, look, I'll check it out. But it'll be just like every other company I've looked at that's tried to copy anything we've done over the last 10 years, and it's not going to be what they say it is. I just go to their website and break it apart and look at it and show them how all it is a bunch of affiliate windows that they've gotten from Travelocity or Expedia or Orbitz or Hotwire, and they've signed a deal with Vacation Hideaways, Getaways Company with RCI or whatever, and they just slap a bunch of affiliate windows on a website and call it a travel company. And they've tried it over and over and over again. Now they're getting really creative. They're coming out with a puck with a USB outlet. Do you guys realize they're not even building USB outlets on the new technology? I mean, how bad do these guys have to be to understand this kind of stuff? Right? Like, that's their new marketing thing. It's like, hey, check this out. This is a USB thing. You can just plug it into your computer and see and book on our travel site. I'm like, who uses a computer and who uses USB? You have a USB drive on your iPad? You have a USB drive on your iPhone? Does that sound like a mobilepreneur business? I mean, was this the idea that they came up with 10 years ago and didn't work, and now they just got some investors to buy in on the idea, and now they launched it thinking that it was good, and they came up with it 10 years ago? I mean, this is the thing. Nobody can do what we do. Do you know how much infrastructure it takes to organize over 1,000 Dreamtrips like we did last year? Do you realize how hard it is to negotiate and to pay for that stuff? You know, a lot of these companies that are startups, they can barely afford to pay their people. They're running their offices out of apartments or little bitty offices, and they can't even hire customer service people. How are they going to prepay? Because most of these hotels and resorts want money up front. This is what we dealt with 10 years ago, but we made it through all of that. Now they have to start from square one and try to do all of that. So I promise you, there is no way they have what we have. They can say what they want. They can tell you that they have it, but no travel company in the world has what World Ventures has or is going to have in the future.